Welcome everyone, today we have a new guide for Honkai Star Rail. Now in today's video, we'll be looking into the relics and also farming those for level 40. So in this video, we'll look into a lot of ways of getting some really good rolls on the relics and what are my advices and also tips to the best spending of our energy. We'll talk about the things you should be doing before spending all your energy onto the relic farming. And also we'll be talking about what is the best place to be farming for different relics and how do you get the most out of your relic farming. On the second part of the video, we'll also talk about crafting relics. So this is actually quite important aspects of the game. I want to provide you guys with more tips and also more advices of how to craft your relics and also how to get the best stats out of them. So we'll be going into very detailed into relic grind after level 40, and this will be especially important because there were certain items that allows you to craft the relics with the right min stats. And this particular item is free but only comes once every patch. So once every 45 days, we'll get one of those items. So let's dive into the video and let's see how we get the most relics with the limited energy we have. Now coming over to the game, you can see that I am currently on Trailblazer level 43. So for the past day, I've been spending a lot of my energy, and you can see I have only 2 of my fuse left. I'm keeping 2 as the spare one. Now over here, you guys can see I have gotten a lot of different relics, and what I want to show you guys is, so over here, if you have a look at this particular relic, which I don't have, one of my viewers actually sent it to me, this relic has some right substats and also the right elemental stats. The side effect, the set effect is also really good. So a lot of my viewers and also myself included, we have started to spend a lot of energy to get relics. Now I want to start with giving you guys some tips of the best usage of your energy. So first of all, be aware guys, relic farming can take a few weeks or a few months in this game. So you don't really want to, invest too heavily into relic farming after level 40. You want to do the other things before that, because every time you do relic farming, it will take you 40 energy. And easily you can spend up to a few hundred energies and not get anything. So briefly going through the things we should be doing before relic farming. Now one of the things you should be doing is to ascend your characters. So if you come over here and look at my main team, I have Sidlai, I have Wild, I have Himiko. All my main characters are now ascended after level 50. And this also goes for my supporting healers and also my other characters. Notice they have been ascended, and this allows me to play other parts of the game like the Forgotten Hell and also the Simulator World. This is quite important. We should also be ascending our weapons after level 50. Similarly, you should be unlocking key level 4 ascension passives with your tracer passives. So if we come over to the game, you can see after getting Silai, I unlocked her key passive. So a lot of characters will have a key passive at level 2, level 4 and also level 6 with ascension passive, and those will make the character very powerful. Unlocking those key tracer passives will give you a boost of power, and usually as you upgrade the tracer for the characters, those are guaranteed as a power boost, not like the relics. Relics you can spend 40 energy and get nothing out of it. Now finally, one of the things that is not often mentioned is about ascending your characters, all of your characters, to level 20 and also level 40 for the 1 to 2 extra standard summon. So what I mean by that is, if you come over to my characters, you can see that all of my characters, I have gotten them to level 40. So every one of them level 50, level 40. So this means I have gotten extra 30 free summons just because I have been ascending the characters at level 20 and also level 40. Now I have only started doing this after getting to level 40 because we get higher drop rate of the materials. But do keep in mind guys, this can still be a lot of spending of the resource you have in the early game. I was doing this because I wanted more standard summons to get more chances of a weapon or maybe a character. Now finally, let's talk about the relics. It was spent and cost us 40 energy per farm of relics, and it was always guaranteed 1 legendary golden relic that is dropped in the run. So for now we only get 1. So what I want to recommend is, let's check our characters and also see the recommended build for those characters, to see which of the set relic set you want to be farming and which set you get the most out of it with your energy. So using my account as example, you can see that I have Silai, Wild, Himiko, and also Yanqing as my main 5 stars, and I'll be building those characters majority with my limited energy and also resource. So if I come over to Proton GG over here, they have very nicely listed the set of the relics for those characters. Sometimes there are multiple sets that is recommended for those characters. So I have Silai, I have Himiko over here, and also Yanqing over here opened up. Now they actually don't have a build for Wild, but we do have the previous guide from Sepsep, and I have the links available for you guys. So you can see the Wild particular build is recommended to go with imaginary set. And this makes sense, right? He deals imaginary damage and we can go with imaginary set. So one thing you can notice is that most of the characters have a second option, is that they go with 2 set for elemental damage and then 2 set for the Musketeer Wild Whip. And this allows him to gain the 12% attack and also 10% elemental damage. And this is pretty much the case for most of the characters. So this is a big highlight of how you should be farming for certain legendary relics. Now we can also notice that one of the best planetary set for most of my DPS characters is gonna be the Space Sailing Station. This one will provide us with attack bonus and also even more attack bonus with higher speed. And most of the characters are recommended to build into speed. So what that means is, if we come back to our notes, is that we have 2 dungeons that is going to be really good for my characters and most of the DPS characters. And let's go through those over here. We have the Simulator World Difficulty 2 with World 3. And this one will drop the Space Sailing Station. I'm sure this is pretty straightforward for you guys. And if you're going for those sets, it is very straightforward. You can be spending a lot of your energy onto this after you spend everything on top, right? Now over here, I know that we have the Musketeer Wild Wheat set, and this particular set can work out almost every DPS character. So this is like a universal set, and this is going to be a key dungeon that I spend about at least 50 or 60% of my remaining energy and also fuel. So what that means is, I want to get as many good main stats and also variety of the pieces for this particular set. I actually disenchanted a lot of them, I actually savaged a lot of them. Let me see if I can still show you. So notice I have a lot of the Musketeer sets on a lot of my characters. That's even after I savage a lot of them. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm getting a variety of mixed set from the Musketeer set, which allows me to later mix and also combine with the 2 remaining set for the elemental set. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to go with 2 elemental damage and also 2 Musketeer. And this allows me to build most of my characters. Similarly, I can still build Sea Light this way. It is not optimal, but it's much harder to get the perfect items for the full quantum set for her. Now once I have enough of my set with the Musketeer set, I will then go farm my 2 elemental set for my other characters. So for example, if we come over to the game over here, you can see that if we come over to the Cavern of Corrosion, you can see there's a lot of elemental sets. And sometimes those elemental sets can drop the ones your both character wanted. For example, for this one, Path of Configuration, you can get Flame and also Imaginary sets over here. And this is a really good place for me to be farming for my Wealth and also my Himiko. So it is likely I will be spending a lot more proportion of my energy onto this particular dungeon, simply because everything that drops I want the set. And in comparison, if I go with the Sea Light set on this particular dungeon, so this dungeon drops both damage reduced taken, which I don't really need, and also this dungeon drops the Sea Light Quantum set. So notice that each time I run this particular dungeon, I only have a 50% chance of getting the right set. So it is less advisable to be running this particular dungeon at the start, simply because you have a half chance of getting the right one, half chance of getting the wrong one, and also even less chance of getting the right main stats. It is much more difficult. I will be running majority of the dungeons I can have both of the sets I wanted, and I'll be going for those. So if I come over to my characters, notice that I try to get the bare minimum for the Sea Light set, for the content set. I only have 2 pieces, which are the 2 easiest pieces for her, and those are the gloves and also the helmet. Everything else, I'll be providing her with something that is better. I couldn't find a good critical set, even though I have a critical set over here, but well to use this one. So notice over here, I want to go with critical rate for her. Over here, I want to go with attack percent, and here I went with the content damage, and also here I went with attack percent. Notice I'm only getting legendary sets to level 12. This is because it takes so much more experience to go from level 12 to level 15. It is not worth it for me at the moment. But of course guys, if you come over to this image my viewer sent to me, you can see this particular set, level 15, you do get some really good stats. So at level 15, you get 38.8% stats, and over here, if you have a look at my gear, at level 12, we get 32%. So you're losing about 6%, but the cost of getting to level 15 is way much higher, and I don't think it's worth it, especially when I don't have a good sap stats. Now you might be wondering, what happens when you don't get the right relic after spending so much energy, right? So you can see in my previous inventory I had so many relics, but I wasn't getting the right one. Well, this is when we come to the second part, which will be crafting and also making the perfect stats for those relics. Now if you guys haven't subscribed, it is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering tons of free Jade guides, new events, official updates, and also free to play tips and also tricks to hunt Star Rail. And make sure you turn on the notification, guys, because some of the events and also some of the updates may be time limited and with a limited number of giveaways. Like in this particular guide, only 2,000 players can get the lucky giveaway for 3,000 Jades. So make sure you subscribe and also turn the notification on. And if you look over here, a lot of you haven't turned it on. We have over 80% people who haven't turned it on. So make sure you turn it on for the latest news and also all the freebies with Honkai Star Rail. So coming over to the second part. So now that we found so many relics, we can also use the savage function. So one thing I want to highlight with you guys, it is the best way to be savaging 5-star relics than using them as relic experience. So what I mean by that is, if you try to level up a relic, you can put in legendary golden relics as relic experiences, but it is not recommended. What you want to do is, you kind of want to savage your golden relics because this allows you to craft into other relics. So if I open up the inventory, you can see the savage button over here, and if we click this one, you can see the available relics that can be savaged. Each time you savage those, I'll move my head a little bit, you can see that you can get 10 of the materials for the relics. And those particular items, once you add up to 100 of those, you can be crafting any relic of your liking. So if you come over to the synthesizer and also a new tab over here, you can see that right now I can craft any relic of any part of the relic I want, and I can see what this relic can roll into. The basic relics does not roll into anything because the head and also hands are the fixed stats with attack and also with HP. But if you go to the body, you can see you can roll into a lot of stats. Critical damage, critical rate, attack percent, and even hit effect is really good. So this is why this is an important feature I want to share with you guys, and I'm sure you guys have noticed. So you want to be savaging your relics instead of using them for experience, because at the start I didn't know about this. Once you savage 10 of them, you can be building one of the relics you wanted. Now over here you can see that the next thing is I want to highlight with you guys is once you have leveled up a legendary 5-star relic, you cannot use them for savage. I'll show you guys over here. So I noticed this earlier, I was wondering why. Over here, I tried to level up this particular relic to level 3 to see what sap stats I get. I was trying to get more HP for the healer. But once I level to level 3, if you come over to the inventory, you can see that this relic is no longer an option to be savaged, so it's not in the list. And this item was not equipped by my characters. So what that means is, if you want to be savaging your relics, do not level them up, because once you do, you can't savage them. Now if we come over back to the crafting menu, you can see that I can pick different set of relics. And once I pick different set of relics, I can then pick the different pieces of relics. And if you click the customize synthesize, it will tell you what the relics can roll into with the main stats. The sap stats are always random. Now over here you guys can see I have prepared 100 of the relic crafting material. So at the end of the video, we'll be crafting one piece of the relic. Let's see how lucky I am, right? So over here, one of the things I want to highlight is you can get one self-molding resin each time you play the game for each of the new patch. I know it's pretty crazy. So if you come over to the battle pass at level 40, you can get one free self-raising resin. And this is the most rare item in the game at the moment for getting the best relic stats. So what you want to do is you still need 100 pieces of the relic shards to be crafting relics. But once you go to this function with the self-raising resin, you can pick any of the main stats you wanted, and this can be very important for the main stats. So what we do is, every patch we get one chance of doing this. So you get 100 of the relic remains, and then you use one of the self-raising resin to pick your perfect set and also the perfect main stats. Now this of course comes to the next question. Which piece of the relic should you be crafting? Which set and also which of the pieces? And also when should you be using the self-rising resin, which I'll be getting very soon. I'm currently level 35 with Battle Pass. So I'll give you guys some recommendations. It is definitely a personal preference. So if I'm not using the self-raising resin, so let's say if I'm not using the raisins over here, so I'm not using the one-time only item, and I'm just crafting, I'll recommend crafting the first two pieces like the head and also gloves, simply because those pieces, if you do not have them, they have a fixed stat. So the main stats is fixed, and if you're crafting the head or the gloves, you don't have a roll. You'll always be 100% get the standard roll, the HP for the head and also the attack for the gloves. And this will help you complete your set, which sometimes can be a little harder to find. So coming to my example over here, it was actually quite hard to find my head and also glove pieces for the content piece because I don't want to farm the dungeon too much. So here I was able to craft one of those pieces, and the stats are not too great, but sometimes you can find better stats, right? So if you craft those pieces, the sap stats will be rolled, but the main stats will be the same. This allows you to complete your 2 set or the 4 set very quickly. Now, of course, if we're crafting for other pieces, you have to roll for the main stats. I do have some recommendations over here. So here, if I'm crafting a particular piece, I want to be crafting a piece that multiple of my characters can use this piece. And also I can enjoy a number of different stats rolls. So my example is crafting a chest piece. If I'm crafting a chest piece, some of my characters will enjoy the critical damage, other characters will use the critical hit, and other characters can use the on-hit effect rate and even attack percentage. So this is why, if I'm looking for a piece to be crafting, most of the time I'll be thinking of crafting a chest piece. So you guys remember that previously, if I look at my CLI, I do not have a chest piece, and here most of my characters other than Welt does not have the correct chest piece. And what that means is, crafting the chest piece will be the most valuable for multiple of my characters. Yanqing over here can use the critical damage, while CLI can use the critical rate, and Himiko can use the on-hit effect for the rates of getting more additional procs. And Himiko here can use the attack percentage, critical rate, or even the hit effect rate. Now, of course, guys, if you are crafting for your final piece using the self-molding resin, what I recommend is, I recommend crafting one of the orbs, because one of the orbs can roll into the correct elemental damage. If you're using self-raising resin, and if you're picking the right orb for elemental damage, this is actually quite important. Let's say if I'm going for my CLI, and I want the planetary spear, which provides me with all the set bonus I wanted for my build, right? So if I go with the spear, and then I select quantum damage, this will be really important. Because if you look at my current build, I'll show you guys. You can see that even though I have the right main stats, I do not have the right set. And this makes it really difficult to be finding those sets. And this, I think, at the start of the game, is one of the best ways to be using your self-molding resin, to be crafting the spears for your elemental damage for the right class of the character. Now finally, before we finish guys, let's have a look how I'm going to do with my crafting. So I have 100 of the relic remains, and I'll be crafting one of the pieces for the musketeer for the chest. I know the rates are really bad, so just bear with me, let's see how we go. So here I have decided to be crafting one more body. I've been crafting 2 bodies so far, so this is the second body. I know I can roll into attack, critical rate, and also critical damage. Those are the ones I wanted. So I'm looking at a 3 out of 7. Oh, pretty low, right? Let's see how we go, and we did this live. Fingers crossed. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. So again, if you get a bad one, well, don't be too discarded. It's quite likely you get a bad one. But if you do get a bad one, wait till you get 9 more and also recycle them, salvage them, and then you can craft again. It's a really painful system, I have to say. This is why I said at the start, you spend your energy onto the things that matter the most, like the tracer passives. Notice most of my tracer passives have been unlocked, and some of the tracer passives have not been unlocked for other characters. I'll be doing the tracer passives, then I go back to relic farming, because relic farming is gonna be very big gambling. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments guys, what is your best strategy of farming for relics, and what is the best relics you have so far. So this is one of the ones my viewers sent to me. And if you have any tips for farming relics and also getting the better stats, let us know as well. So best of luck with relic farming after level 40. Now, in case you guys didn't know, we have a new website for Honkai Star Rail. So over here, you can see the active codes, my guides, also my written notes, and also the latest official news, and also banners that is coming, and also that is available in the game. We'll be also updating for the live events and everything that's related to Honkai Star Rail. So make sure you click the links below the video to come over to our website for more guides, tips, and also free codes on Honkai Star Rail.